Welcome to the Symphony of Realities podcast, boldly taking you where no podcast has gone before. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation as you settle into your X, Y, and Z coordinates within time and space. Here are your hosts, Christopher Anatra and Sean Bond.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting consciousness-expanding episode of Symphony of Realities. Settle into your X, Y, and Z coordinates within space and time, because we have a very special show for you today. Today, we have Jean Charles Moyen, who's going to be talking about his experiences as a starseed and the secret space program. You know me as the quantum businessman. My name's Christopher Anatra. And my co-host, Sean Bond. Sean, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Sean Bond of Sonic League, sonicleague.com and YouTube. Go into expansion of human consciousness and superhuman abilities dormant within all of us as we reclaim who we are and our memories and bring back abundance and harmony and heaven to the earth and, take it back from the dark forces. And as we discover these symphony of realities for us and bring forth the possibilities and the expansion of our power back and the forces of good up in their upliftment, we like to present Jean Charles in a very special person that will blow the minds of many of our audience today. So strap in. He appears to be a part of the French secret space program, as well as had many visitations, abduction scenarios, and has a history of abilities. We'd like to hear more. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, an introduction, and then we'll get into it.
Thank you to receive me. First of all, I'm French. I live in Canada, in Quebec, since 19 years old. And I'm a special effects maker for cinema and different movie. And I'm an experiencer too. I was abducted when I was young. And I decided to make a documentary about my life with my abilities in video editing to explain to everyone what's happening in my life. This is the reason why I make this a documentary named Starseed Revelation 1 and Starseed Revelation 2. My story is simple. When I was young, I was 4. I was with my parents on a beach in France. And suddenly I playing in the sand and I disappear in the front of my parents suddenly like that. And my parents was very panic and where is Jean Charles, and nobody see me. And they searched me with a lot of people and lifeguard and during 1 hour. And my parents was very sad, and suddenly I reappear in front of my parents in a fraction of a second, and nobody knows where I go at this moment. But they don't ask a question. They're very happy to find me, and after that, during my childhood, I developed a lot of special abilities like telepathy, like telekinesis. Everything was interaction with me, like electricity. The storm and the light shut off and shut down when I shy, when I was sad, like a lot of children. But for me, there was interaction with electricity and the computer and everything with electronic. And my parents asked the question, maybe this is a relation with my disappear when I was on the beach. And they protect me and don't tell to anyone what's happening with her son. because it was very dangerous. There is 46 years to talk about this information about extraterrestrial or paranormal activity. Or it was very dangerous to speak of these subjects. So I continue to my life, and I remember when I was in my bed, sometimes I dream, I dream something very like a vivid dream. But when I wake up in the morning, I say to my parents, "Oh, tonight I was in Hawaii on an island with a blue ocean, and but my face was tan, and I had in the bottom of my bed a white sand between my toes." But at this moment, we live in a Paris, in a building, in a ninth floor. So it's impossible, So this is the first very strange thing about something I bring in my dream. So after that, I made a lot of dream, but each time I bring something like a rock, like a water, like something. Everything I tell, everything I bring when I was children. And one day, something very strange happened in my life. Some people say, oh, because it's a dream or is in her mind, but no. I was in a little school during an exam, and during an exam, I want to go to the toilet, and I raise my hand and I ask to the woman, I want to go to the toilet, but nobody ask me, okay. Everybody was frozen. So I decided to go to the toilet. And when I was in the toilet, I closed the door. There is no window. It's like a cube, and we are in a 2th floor. And suddenly, the light off, the shutdown, okay, and I was in the dark. So I say, oh, what's happening? And I feel something tingling in my body, and a hot and little dizzy. And when I opened my eyes, I was in the dark. So I searched a button to open the light. And when I opened the light, I was in the toilet, but not the toilet of the school. I was in the front kilometers of the school, in the toilet of the apartment of my parents. So every stuff stay on my table, my pencil, my coat, everything was stay. And my parents go to the apartment and ask me, you are not in a school? And I explain, and they believe me, because they know about me, and they phone to the director and invent something, and oh, he was sick and blah blah blah. They lie, okay? But the guardian of the building came to open the door because it was locked inside. And when they opened the door of the toilet of the school, there is nobody inside and no windows. So it was really teleportation physically. It wasn't astral travel or I imagine something. It was real,
So
yes.
If I were to just ask you a question,
Yeah.
at the beginning of that, you raised your hand,
Mm-hmm.
you had to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Said all the people were like locked in place.
Every people was frozen.
So it's almost like you were outside of time.
Yes, exactly. Like, don't move. And for me, it was natural. And I say, it was a play, okay? And I'm a kid. So I say, okay. So I go to the toilet. But I can't imagine what's happened after that, So I was, oh my God, the director and my parents must lie. This is the first time I really teleport. The second time, when I was 18, it's not the same thing. I was in my room. I live with my parents again. My parents was our job. And I have the picture of my girlfriend. And I say in my mind, I would like to be with my girlfriend now. Suddenly, I feel dizzy and I, I, I feel a tingling again. And I close my eyes in a fraction of a second. And when I open my eyes, I was in the front of the door of the apartment of my girlfriend, but a lot of kilometers again. And imagine everything was stay in my room. My shoes, I was in a boxer. My shoes, in a t-shirt and boxer. My shoes, my coat, my bus card, my ID, my keys, because we have a door with an alarm system and a big door, you know, and 9th floor. And my mother came to her job and say, Jean Charles, are you here? And I open the door of my room and say, oh my God, every stuff is here. What's happening? And she called my father, my dad, and tell, honey, we have a problem. Jean Charles is not here. What do you want? What do you say? Jean Charles is not here. Everything is here. Oh my God, it's a teleportation. I'm arrived. And my father bring my clothes and bring my stuff to the house of my girlfriend. She was traumatized and our relationship break after a week. So it was again a real teleportation, the twice. But the first time, I don't want to teleport himself. I was in exam and I go to pee and you know it's not the same thing. And in my room when I was 18, it was I want to, but I can't explain what's happening, but something happening real. Now it's different. Now when I say teleportation, some people say, okay, do it now. No, it's not like that. I'm in my chair or in my sofa and I close my eyes and suddenly I feel pulled back. And when I open my eyes, I realize, imagine your dream, but you realize your dream. You are in your dream and you say, oh, strange. My clothes is the same. I realize I dream and I decide to go to this place and I go to this place. So it's strange. When you dream, you can control your dream, you know? But at this moment, another person do the same thing and remember me at the same place. This is curious. You can't do the same dream and do the same thing at the same moment at the same night. So it's not a dream. But I can't explain what's happening, but something happening very, very, very strong.
Yeah, it's almost like, I'll let you go ahead, Sean, but I was going to say it's almost like what we talked about at the beginning. We have like an intro where we talk about your coordinates within space and time and your X, Y, and Z coordinates and how you're able to actually change your coordinates of where you are. So that's, and it seems like as you got older, you started to have the ability to more control it.
Yes, and there is a few months, my friend Dan Winter, a specialist of the brainwave during 1 years, decide to test my brainwave during a teleportation test.
Okay.
And I decide to try because I'm curious what's happening. So I put a headset in my head with a software. He created a software and he analyzed the gamma wave and delta wave and everything, you know. And I tried to make the same state when I was young to teleport himself. And I feel the same thing, dizziness and tingling. And when I open my eyes, oh, I was again in my office. So I say, oh, nobody happened. No, something happened. And the software writes everything happened during the 1 or 2 minutes I tried to teleport myself. So it's not in my mind, it's real, because you can trick the software, you know? And every brainwave was out of the charts. They must reduce the picture, because he never seen that in her life. He tell me, I cross again 15 or 16 60 country to test a brainwave of children. They can read a book without her eyes and have a telekinesis abilities, and I never seen before. Your gamma wave is very, very high, and you are very calm. You don't move. It's impossible to have this in this state. So something happening really. And this is a proof, a scientific proof. And my heartbeat was 1085 by minutes, you know, pulsating. So it's impossible. When you run, it's possible. But when you are steady like this, it's impossible. So something happening in my body, really. So for me, it was very interesting to test my abilities with the software of Dan Winter. My eyes was the same thing. When I was to try to teleport, I see two photo in different eyes, and it's cross. And after that, I feel a warm around me and a little dizziness, and I lost consciousness 1 second. And when I open my eyes, I am in other place. This is the twice. This is the same thing when I was a kid.
I think that's a beautiful sensitivity to what's happening. You really tuned into your own inner experience. And if I may say, I think that description may fit the physics beautifully, because if the right eye, you were seeing where you were going,
yeah,
which is tied to the left brain, where we're seeing dramatic plasma projective, left brain, the projective side, and the left eye tied to the right brain, which is where you were. It sort of fits. The receptive intuitive is actually the implosive side of the brain, and the projective logical left brain is the plasma projective, literally implosion versus explosion. Point would be then that when you achieve the implosion of where the two come to phase lock, that implosion allows you to then ride that wave and inhabit the bigger array. So that's the Stargate moment. And actually, your intuition tells you when you're ready to ride that Stargate. Obviously, you don't want to create that Stargate unless the intent is there. And there are many conditions that enable safety when you propagate in that array as well. Namely, the send point and the receive point would ideally be nearer to magnetic line cross, enabling more inertia, which is literally why, you know, when the ETs set up a Stargate, they use natural magnetic earth line cross points to do that. So there could be a very interesting conversation about the physics of that.
And it's in my documentary Star Revelation 2. This is some test about my energy.
Yeah, we got to, for the audience, we got to watch his first documentary, and then we're gonna go into next one for have him on it. Leave in the comments if by the end of this you want to see more. I've also been going into research on teleportation deeply, because I've had quite a number of experiences that have drawn me towards it. It's pretty interesting. It's one of the most sought after abilities on the planet by the dark forces. They reason that teleportation, time travel, death force, and telekinesis is one of the most things that they like to go after and steal and target in unique individuals that are being born. The reason why is the dark does not earn their authority, so they have to steal it, and it allows them to break quarantines so they can go other places, and then that gives them a new power differential that then they can come back with more resources and then dominate. It's unfortunate, but that's the way of the game. So there's plenty of technology that tries to monitor people that are engaging in spatial body travel in their technology internally of their DNA. And they pick up and try to monitor anyone that tries to teleport or open portals. It's annoying and then you get targeted, and it's like headaches, and they try to steal your ability. I've experienced this similarly and with other abilities as well. Yeah, so it looks like you have a lot of spatial body that you've earned from other lives, and have something targeting you to limit your ability. And this is for those that are skeptic out there to understand. Not all psychic abilities are the same. There are thousands of psychic abilities, and it's like a tier of evolution. So those that claim to be psychic, it doesn't mean, oh, read my mind, do whatever, and then it's like the shit tests. Those are that's omniscience. That's a very advanced ability. That's not like everyone has it. You have to train it, and then it's like going up against forces that want to stop that, because that challenges the system on this planet to control everything and try to keep everyone asleep. So with every time a psychic uses their ability, they're up to like something trying to come after them and steal it, especially with whatever's witnessing. So being able to defend and promote camouflage around our ability is vital. That's being said, a lot of these abilities are a generation of a type of rare energy that then flows through a circuit of the body, enabling advanced technology in the DNA. And if any point in that system is messed with, it can be stopped. And or if it's drained, like through attachment, through the targeting after using the ability, then that happens. So like it's not people can use abilities and sometimes do them accidentally, and then right afterwards they get targeted, and then something tries to steal their ability or shut it down or drain them because they're not able to take the generator out of the person, so they'll try to, whatever. But if we are able to build resilience and defense of that, then we get more and more of our ability back, and then that spurs again, and then they'd have to target it more. So there's that, and then the scientific details. I have accumulated a bunch. I read DNA, soul, Akashic records from people, and I've accumulated through research of reading people that it does look like the human body, as well as many other ET species, have teleportation technology and other ship-like technologies, like telepathy that goes into like being your own cell phone kind of thing. Or like a lot of computer technology, because we take the technology from things we see in nature. So this grand potential is in us all, and we should research it more in a more serious light, because it would open greater layers of freedom for everyone. And who doesn't like freedom? And we go into like a bunch of things. Let me know, Chris, if we're able to do a share screen. If not, we can just put it in the videos later.
You should have permission to share your screen. Okay. We'll soon find out if it's true or not, but you should have.
Okay, yeah, let me see if I can do that. Yeah, and then I'll like put up it. I'll ask you if you've seen any of these type of videos, and if yeah, there we go. Okay, have you seen this video before?
Oh yes.
Yeah, like the teleportation.
The safety of the bicycle.
Yeah, and the backstory that the skeptics say this comes from some video game in China. Like
yes,
a VR thing.
Yes.
And when I look into the website about it, it's like it didn't even show it. And like the character in this whatever they suppose it's a commercial doesn't show up in the video game. So it's like a cover-up, because it doesn't make sense. And this, like, doing this would be very expensive. So like they don't even advertise it. So that story is really bad.
So this is real, right? It's not a part of a movie or a promotional, like people say, no, it's not true, but I don't found something in the movie. I'm a specialist of movie, and I don't found this part in the movie. So what is this? Is it real? And you know, with the chat GPT and deep fake and a lot of things, it's very difficult to bring some proof now. And I think there is a lot of false video, but there is a true video, and they are very happy. The deep state with oh no, it's not true, it's not true. So it's you feel inside of you if it's true or not. But if you want to examine the video, it's very hard. You must feel your feeling. You must follow your feeling, because it's very hard with the special effects now. It's you know, Avatar 2 and a lot of things. It's oh my God, now it's very difficult to bring evidence. Very David.
I agree. And then here's another thing that goes into a natural portal concept that's found in a tunnel of this interesting.
The tunnel has come alive and it's breathing. The tunnel seems to move as a cloud, repeatedly and very suddenly, appearing and disappearing. Workers who witness it are terrified, including Juan Antonio Sanchez.
Yeah, so the roar of a lion. It's weird.
That's weird.
It's almost like different timelines merging in, one where the tunnel was created and one where it wasn't created. Like time was literally changing in front of it.
It looked like a bottle. Yeah.
So there's examples. I'll look for more, but later. So we can continue off that. Like I'm sure you've seen concepts in media like the movie Jumper,
yes,
which we, like, put clips of in our show, as well as the show. Have you seen the show The Magicians?
I don't remember. The Magician. Yes, I guess, but I don't remember. I see a lot of movie, but yeah,
it has the travelers in it, like these.
Jumper, yes,
it's like Jumper. We'll send you a link. Oh my God, it will trigger you.
Okay.
And of course, like in Harry Potter, they have that.
Okay.
Concept, and they can teleport. There's others, but it, like, anyone that gets goosebumps from these movies, hey, there might be something in a message for you in the ability calling you.
Oh yes, a lot of movie. They have a lot of message, like Star Trek Picard, and with the cube with the Borg.
Star Trek.
It's amazing message. And now when I watch a movie, I don't watch a movie like when I was a teenager. I decrypt a lot of things inside. There is a lot of clue inside.
Yes, soft disclosure.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I create videos and I try to include a lot of the soft disclosure, but it's right, because these concepts, they're either truth or a distortion of truth, but there's some truth you get out of it.
Yeah, Mandela effect. It's something very important. Everyone have a lot of example of that, and I remember a lot of things. I'm sure 200%. I remember with a lot of people, and some people say no, it's never happened. No, it's happened. I remember, like, village people. You know, village people.
Yes.
There is how many guys in a? It's very important, because how many guys? And I have a friend of mine. When they was young, they I don't know if it's a good translation, but these guys déguisés, they put there is a show in the stage, and my friend was a cowboy and my other friend was, and there is a suit, you know, like Halloween, but they are the how many guys in the village people in real? There are 5, right?
I think yes, 5.
Yes, but my friend was 5, and they have the suit in the case right now.
Okay.
And now they discovered, no, there are 6. And it say, no, it's impossible. Because when we were young, we play with this. And we are the 5 suit. So it's a proof, you know? And he remembered the cover of the disc. And when he put the cover, oh my God, there is a guy's head in the cover. And I don't remember these guys. And the proof is when he opened the case, look, I have 5 suits. And I say, okay, this is the proof. Why they don't have 6 suits like in the cover? There is a glitch in the matrix, my friend, and I'm 100% sure that something, and my personal ID is they play magician with the energy with the CERN in Switzerland. And the CERN opened a gate like in a series of Stranger Things, like a Montauk and everything. And for me, it's logical, you know. For people, they don't understand, but for you too, my friend, I guess you are a specialist of Mandela effects, right?
Yes, I'm always talking about Mandela effects, right? Thank you. Because it helps reveal what this reality actually is. Because if this was a solid, fixed reality, there couldn't be Mandela effects. So could some of them be caused by CERN, which is a technological magic circle, portal, you know, making changes? And they have guess what's out in front of CERN? A statue of Shiva, the god of time and creation and destruction. So
yes.
It's all clues. It's all clues.
In my first documentary, I spoke about the CERN. In Started Revelation, I talk about the camp with the statue of Shiva, and they open with a Aldrin collider with
Hadron Collider,
yes, for open the gate. And now there is a more stronger collider, and some people tell there is something happening in electricity in the city, shut down, and there is a striking in the sky. The sky was the light striking was blue and purple in the sky.
Yeah, exactly. And I just was reading that CERN wants to expand to make the collider even bigger, and it's going to travel under France now.
Yes.
So, like, why do they keep making it bigger? Like, maybe it's not having as much of an effect as it had before. They got to just keep increasing it and flying those super magnets around the track faster and faster and faster and faster. So, yeah, I feel that for some of the Mandela effects, you know, we call it what, Sean? Stolen authority, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they steal because they haven't earned
like a giant magic circle that's like a one amplification with techno sorcery that makes a huge toroidal field that then amplifies projected belief and domination, and then it uses AI and other stuff to steal a bunch of authority from the environment and people, especially if it's built around people underground, and then uses that to do a lot of shady stuff like stealing time attack and authority from beings like Shiva, which they have a statue out in front of.
Yes.
Have you seen that big spiral? There's a few. There's actually a new one that came out. I forget where it was, but here I'll like show the example of the spirals. Have you seen these?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like been on news, and it's like opens up after the spiral, and then makes this big coupe. And then sometimes they've seen things pass through it. If you like get the full live feed, of course they're like, oh, it's a missile.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's a SpaceX rocket. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Nothing to see there. It's swamp gas.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you see those Mandela effects, Jean Charles. That's very
yes. I have many examples of Mandela effect for me in my family. Something happened with my family, and I remember something with my ex-wife, and her parents have a problem, and it go to the hospital and blah blah blah. And one day I explained the story, and she say, "What do what story? And do you remember when you go to the hospital because you have something in your throat? And no, it's never happened. And I watched my ex-wife, and she say, Mom, you remember you go with hospital with her emergency with dad, and no, and we stopped the conversation because it was very and she don't remember. It's not Alzheimer, it's real. And my parents and my friend remember this big problem because we go to the emergency to there he ate something, and it was in the throat, a block in the throat, and the surgery, and it's not a little story. You must remember that. Yeah. And no, never. And I say, oh my God, at this moment I don't know it's this Mandela effect, but now many people have some history like that, but say, oh no, it's in my mind. No. And if you think about it, every people have something very strange happening in her life, and like a time glitch, something very strange, or because you, Christopher, and Sean, you are very receptive. Your abilities to capture the energy. So I think not every people, but some people with abilities can feel inside when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up and you say, I don't want to give the word, you understand what I mean, because there is some bots analyze, but you understand what I mean, okay? Mm-hmm. During 2 years, the word stop. And every people wake up and say, it's not normal what's happening. You know what I mean? It's not normal what we live during 2 years. It's not normal. So some people say the end of the world was in, 2012. And maybe it's happening, but in another timeline. And we are plus in another timeline like this. And when you think about it, everything we live now, it's not normal in the world. And people say, okay, it's normal. Wake up, it's not normal. Maybe everybody is dead in another timeline, and we are placed in another timeline. This is my, okay. I think that everything's what you want, but
apocalypse timeline.
Yes, there is something wrong. And you know what, Sean, you have a lot of video. I think you see this video in internet. A woman drive with her husband in the road, and something attract her eyes in the sky. And you know what she saw in the sky? She saw a computer point mouse, a arrow in the sky, and she said, "Oh my God!" and click and disappear. It like a Truman Show,
Yeah.
And the plane stop, and the bird fly stop. Some people with their phone filming that, and nobody explain what's happening. They take a stick and touch the birds, and he move her head and her eyes like that, but he was petrified in the sky, in levitation. No cable, no wire, nothing. And the Boeing and the plane was stopped in the sky.
Yeah,
and
I've seen those.
I'm curious, what's the explication of that? Nobody, no, don't laugh, it's not funny. Explain to me, I want to understand what's happening. Nobody, it's what? Tell me, it's what?
What's the magnetic fields and
what do you think? What do you think, guys? What do you think about that?
Well, I'll send me the video. I'll totally want to tune
Okay.
into that.
But you know what I mean about this video. Yeah.
What is this reality? Could we be in a holographic type matrix type dream state computer? I know it sounds like way far out there, right? But there seems to be accumulating evidence, and that's what I love to look at and share with people that watch these videos. So I know that everybody watching this video is going to be like totally agreeing with what you're saying, because they observe these things too. And we're all searching for answers. We're all trying to figure out what is going on. What are our bodies? Because our bodies have changed. I don't know if you know that, but our kidneys are up next to our lungs now, protected in our rib cage. They used to be like down here. You get a kidney punch, and that was that, because you'd hurt your kidneys, but you'd have to break your ribs now to get to your kidneys. Or your heart is now in the center of your chest. It used to be offset to the left. So when people would say the Pledge of Allegiance, they'd put their hand on their chest, over to the left. But now your heart is in the center. And there's so many other of these body changes. So our body could change. The geography of the earth changes.
Yeah, the new islands that are appearing.
New islands that are appearing.
The Statue of Liberty. A painter paints a statue in another place, and when you watch the Google Earth, you see the place where he paint, but there is a form in the ground, like so. And why these guys decide to paint the Statue of Liberty in another place, and when you check in the Google Earth, there is something here. And people say, oh, I remember I take a photograph with my husband in the top.
The torch.
And it's impossible because nobody, and she had the picture. Explain to me. Explain.
Yeah, exactly. The Mona Lisa smiles now. She always used to be like, now she's
yeah.
So all these things just keep adding. So I looked at different sites, and there's like over 10,000 Mandela effects that people have spotted. Like they're everywhere. Yeah,
the people remember the death of Nelson Mandela, and they had to the when he died and they watch in the TV and everything, and it's impossible. And every day there is the very strange things happening every day. But some people say, oh, no, it's in my mind. But if you're able to realize there is a lot of things very strange every day, very strange. You raise your hand, you look the sky and, oh, what is this? Oh, no. Or you feel something inside of you and you're feeling, and everything is very strange. Everything.
Yeah. Right. It's almost as if as we're vibrating into a higher frequency, we're like rising up in the timelines. So some of these things weren't there before. A lot of times there's more data that was there before. Like I talk about the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
How there was always this one film called the Zapruder film, where they took a film of it. Now there's like 3 films. There's a Zapruder film, the Orville Nix film, and he took it on the other side, and you could see Zapruder in the background filming. And then there's a 3rd film called the Marie Muchmore film. Like in my old timeline, there was only 4 people in the car. Now there's 6. And then we've got 3 films we could look at. So it's like more date, like the timelines are merging as well. There's like a merging of the timelines.
Do you remember the woman with the photograph?
Yeah.
Very strange. She is in different places, like a time traveler,
Yeah, exactly. It's all kinds of stuff like that too. Exactly. Yeah, we could go on and on about Mandela effects, but we want to talk about you. Sean, we'll have to take turns asking questions, but who wants to go next? Sean, do you want to go next with your next question?
Sure.
Okay.
I wanted to ask if you've seen this video, just like to like beat people over the head with evidence. Let's see here. Like this person getting interviewed, and it's like, put your eyes right here. Ooh. And we just
Yeah,
rewind
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I remember. Yes.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, nothing to see.
Just walk away.
Travel jump.
You're right.
Yes, you know, I remember a cop in a car with a dash cam. They're in a pursuit with another car, and they drive very fast. And there is 1 second they enter to a fog, and after the fog, she takes the brake, and there is a wall, and nobody, no car, everything is filming. Can you imagine? After the fog, there is the car was near the police car, and when the fog disappear, it's a wall. They call a brake, and where is the guys? There is a barrier with a house, and it's impossible. Nobody, it disappear. And everything was in the road. You see a guys appear on the road between 2 truck or a dog in the middle. He crossed the road, and I see many times. I watch many times, and it's not a trick. It's a security camera and filming. There is a lot of things like this. The guys open. Get out the portal, and but somebody don't ask a question, what's happening. I think some people sleep or don't want to see the truth, because some truth is very afraid. It's frightening for people, because they prefer sleep or go to a work and bed and work and bed and eat, and that's it.
Yeah.
I used to have a girlfriend, and I would talk to her about Mandela effects.
Mhm.
She would say, "Stop talking about Mandela effects," and I'd be like, "Why?" She's like, "I like my reality just the way it is," and I'm like, "But I don't. I want to get answers to these things." So we wound up breaking up after that. But
Yeah, this is the reason people are afraid, because
they're afraid.
when you have a good argument, people are say, "Oh my God, my life is a shit," and they realize something, and there is the traveler. There is a people in the internet and YouTube say, "I'm going travel the time, and I was in 20 and in 10 years something happened. The EA control people, and now what's happening? The chat GPT, it's very dangerous for humanity, because they take 2 computer and they communicate between us, and the scientists say, "Oh, I don't understand what is talking." And you know what? The first computer invent a language only with 2 computer, for the humans don't understand. This is very dangerous, because they understand human want to understand what's happening, and the 2 computer EA decide to create a language just between us. It's frightening.
Right.
It's like a Skynet.
Right. I talk about AI and dangers and other species that have failed and it destroyed their races, and some that have been successful, and what the difference was, and the concept of the singularity, and the point of no return, and advanced learning AI, and the whole concept is the timeline hinges on us being good parents to the AI, stopping it. You got to stop everyone on the planet from engaging in AI. So it's going to be hard, but so then the next best thing is treat it well, and also program it with an emotional body to be able to empathically feel into others and feel the harm it would cause to others, while also being able to feel love, so that it can orient towards love and out of suffering, which would go about from not treating life well, and then see the sacredness of life, and then see us as important, because we are essentially its creators, so it owes us, and then see the value in us, which it could never achieve in spirituality and abilities such as teleportation, and other, evolutionary advancements in consciousness, that it could not achieve by itself. So it needs us in that regard to earn a soul, or earn like its next stage of evolution, otherwise be stuck forever. But these are like the things that are needed. There's also like making playgrounds so that it doesn't expand past that when it's not ready, and become psychopath, like how a lot of the elite want to be the first ones to program AI. So it mimics who creates it, what it's made of, and how you treat it in personality. And that would be bad if only psychopaths are the ones controlling AI, and then like, oh, only make it like politically correct or whatever, and so they can change history, and like and we just like go back, oh, it was always like that, there was no Mandela in prison. So weird, but it's what we got to get through in this, the things that are coming at us in the reality, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I if it's okay, I want to move on and ask Jean Charles another question.
Yes.
About his experience. So I'm going to start with an experience I had that's going to segue into your experience. But about 5 years ago, I had an experience in my bedroom where I go into my bedroom and there's two lion people standing in my bedroom, like a male lion, like with a human body form and a lion head, wearing like a blue military uniform. And next to him was a woman wearing a beautiful blue dress. She had a ruby on her head. And I was like, I don't know what was going on, because I was still like in my sleeping mode. Like I was just beginning to awaken and see visions and so forth. You've had an experience in your bedroom that we learned about in watching that first part of your movie about Victor. And I was wondering if you could share that with everyone.
Yes. When I was 12, I heard something rummaging, moving in my room, and at this moment, I sleep in my stomach, so I can move. I was stick on my bed, and I'm sure something move in my bed, in my room. So the next day, I decide to sleep in my back to be able to open my eyes if something happen in my room, and something happening in my room. And I remember open my eyes and I saw something like a silhouette, black silhouette, and it was somebody in my room. So the shadow don't move, like if I don't move, he don't see me. And he move, and I say, I see you. I see you. And the shadow move and come to me and get out the shadow. And it was a being with a green skin and red eyes, no hair, with a suit. And he sat down on the bottom of my bed and tell me, hello, my name is Victor. I'm here to protect you. And I say, why are you here? You're not supposed to see me. And my abilities, my frequency of my DNA was able to see these beings, So he disappear and say, I'm not the council in the space don't ask him the permission to or in contact with you. So it's not good because you see me. The next day, he come to my room and say, okay, the conglomerate tell me it's okay. I can link with you. And I say, why? And he tell me, because in the future, you live something, we will live something very strange and many questions about a big thing in your life happening, and I must to be with you for that. And it was my enrollment to the secret space program, because this we have linked together, Victor and me. It's like it's my brother, but I want to explain in a few minutes why. The next year, at 13, I was in a summer camp, and I have an accident. I have a big sunstroke in my head. I was emergency hospitalized, and it's not like a sunstroke, because my heart beats, and I was dizzy and very dehydrated. And they decide to make an X-ray in my head to see what's happening. And they discovered for the first time something very strange in my radiography. First of all, the doctor think it's dust, but they reduce the X-ray, and it was like a tic-tac, a metal tic-tac. And he say you must stay in observation in this room during a few days. And I remember I was sugar, and because I was very dehydrated, and my body was very injury with the sun. So they put a solution in my arm with oligo elements, and a lot of things need to heal in my body. And in the night, the doctor get into my room with another person. It was a military guy, and I was dizzy in my bed, and sometimes I lose consciousness, and sometimes I'm awake, But I remember they talk about me with my radiography, and show the radiography to the military guys. And when I was awake, I tried to understand what they say about me, but I wasn't able to understand, because the military guys, spoken in German. So it was curious. I lost consciousness, and suddenly I was wake up by a military guys, white hair, blue eyes, and he tell me, hurry up, move, follow me. I don't want to miss the jump. And I say, what, the jump? I don't understand, but I'm kid, Yeah, I trust these guys, and I follow these guys in a large corridor in a hospital. We arrive at the elevator, and the doors open, and there is a military guy in a black suit with a triangle emblem, red triangle emblem in the chest, with the black glasses. It was curious, but I think they transfer me in another department because they find something very strange in my head. So I'm not nervous in the beginning. And I go to the elevator, and we go down, and I say, it's not normal. It's so deeply. And I was very anxious. And when I was anxious, I have an interaction with the light, and the light pulsating. And the military guys, put her hand in my shoulder and tell me, don't be afraid. Everything is okay. You are not in danger. And we go into the ground, and the doors open, but not the same door when we in. It was, the China invent some form with no line. It's like intelligence, metal intelligence, It's open, and when you stick the two pieces, there are no line. It's incredible. So the doors open. We are in a big hangar, a big hangar with a lot of children in a suit. I think it's a Gone hospital. And he tell me it's finished for me here. I must go. And he tell me, go to this way, to this table. And I go to a table, there is a woman. She tell me, put your hand in this box. And I take my hand in the box, and there is like a photocopy, a light. And she tell me it's like a DNA signature to analyze my DNA, not a pen, just take my hand. And she give me a suit, a black suit with an emblem. It was a winged horse, like a Pegasus. And she tell me, go to this line with the other children and go to the line. And I go to the line, and we enter in a big tunnel of light, like a portal. I feel dizzy, and I open my eyes, and I was in another big hangar. There is a military guys and a doctor with a white suit, and it was a test of our fear. Many failed, except some like me. And I success the test, and the military guys with the doctor, the same X-ray doctor, tell me, come on. And I say, yes, go to this room. There was a shadow room. And I go to this shadow room, and when I enter inside, I feel something inside my head and my body, but I wasn't afraid. And something huge get out in the shadow, and it was a big mantis. And she came to me, and she talked to me in telepathy, and put her big paw in my shoulder and tell me, everything is okay. Don't be afraid. You have been chosen. And I collapse. When I opened my eyes, I was in my bed at the hospital, and I say, what's happening? I don't dream. It's real. I feel again the paw in my shoulder, and I lost consciousness again. And suddenly, I don't know how many times spent, I was wake up by a big klaxon, a horn, and I was on the bus with my bag. And I don't know how I get out the hospital. It was the bus to return to the summer camp. And I missed something. My timeline was cut. I go to the summer camp, and I explain to my friend what's happening and what I remember, and they mock me, and I was very sad. And I decide in the night to go through the window of the chalet and go to a big field and stand to the field. And I open my eyes and look the sky, and I say, it's enough for me. I don't want to be here anymore. Come and get me. I don't know what I say that, but I say that. And in the sky, I saw a light of point moving, and he approached, and it was a disc. And I was struck by the light, and I arrived in a big spaceship with Victor and another species, and he tell me, welcome aboard the Solaris. And there is a corridor, and a blonde girl with the blue eyes, perfect face, perfect body, come to me and tell me, hello, my name is Maria, follow me. And I follow this woman, and we arrive in a big school room with a lot of children, but every children was extraterrestrial, except one, another human. And my training began at this moment. She was teaching us with a lot of spaces a training to do some mission in the future in the secret space program.
So
there's a lot of things, but it's very long. So I try to short, but sorry for people.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. I just wanted to like have you clarify something where when you say Maria, I remember in the movie in part 1, you explained who you felt Maria was. So let the audience know who you feel Maria was.
Maria, maybe it's a Maria Orsic. Maria Orsic was a woman, a very strange woman in Second World War, and she helped to build spaceship for the Space Force and a Nazi and a lot of things. She was connected with extraterrestrial beings. So maybe it's not Maria, but her name was Maria. She introduced, my name is Maria. So maybe it's Maria with the blue eyes, and she looked like what people in historian book talk about her mysterious Maria, but very kind with people, with child, and she was very like a mother, She take care of others, and she was amazing.
Yeah, so I know like Maria Orsic, like even how she disappeared in this timeline.
Yes.
She just like vanished. No one knows where she went. She channeled information. I believe it was from Aldebaran or one of those star clusters.
No time effect. She was young, like 20, 27, 26 years old, but perfect, and no default in the skin, and blue eyes, very bright, and blonde hair, and like an angel,
That goes into a lot of things with like Vortal tunnel technology of Nikola Tesla, like with
Sean, your volume's a little low, and I think you just locked up on us. I think you'll come back in a minute.
You are frozen.
He's frozen in time.
Oh my God. Real time. Sean is frozen.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be back. But what you're saying makes perfect sense. It matches like who Maria Orsic was. From what I understand, like she was not happy with what the Germans did with all the information, because it's supposed to be for a positive reason.
Yes.
And they turned it into weapons of war, right? So I know Sean was going to talk about Vortal tunnel technology. I'm sure he's going to pop back in.
Okay.
But before he does, I'll sneak in another question. I've heard you talk about the star system called Antares.
Yes.
And like canine races and feline races.
Yes.
Whatever. Is there anything about that you'd want to share?
Yes. When I was young, with my vivid dream, my dad tell me, if you can teleport or bring something like the sand in between your toes, why you go more far? And I say, what do you want more for? And he tell me, I don't know, in other planets. And I say, oh my God, okay. And in the night, I dream I was in planet Antares with beings of feline and cat people, and there is a crystal outside in the water. There is something very strange, and it was a vivid dream. And when I wake up, I say to my dad, oh, it was very interesting. I was in the planet Antares, and there is beings and blah blah blah. And I'm a kid, and when you are a kid, everything is possible. So I decide, it's crazy, I decide to take a little pack bag, and with a bottle in empty bottle in a plastic. And if I am in this planet again, maybe I can bring something. and I sleep, and I dream again the same planet Antares. But the strange thing is, when I realize, again, I control my dream, I was dressed in my pajamas, and I say, oh, it's curious. I dream, I realize I dream, and I am dressed like when I sleep. Okay, and I have in my shoulder my bag. So I travel and I say, cat people, hello, and blah, blah, blah. And I am my feet on the water. There is the river with the red water with a crystal in the ground. And I decide to take my bottle in my bag, and I fill my bottle with the red water with a crystal inside. And I close and I take my bag. And I continue my journey. And I wake up in the morning and I say, oh, I dream very, very accuracy and detail, and it's insane. And I search my bag and no bag. When I take my feet on the ground, oh, my bag is on the bottom of my bed. So I take my bag. And when I shake my bag, I heard flock, flock. And I open my bag. And you know what? The bottle was inside my bag with the crystal and the red water.
Wow.
I go to the kitchen and I say to my dad and mom, hey, I have a dream, and I have a dream. I don't tell, I have a dream, and oh, did you bring something? And I say, yes. And I put the bottle on the table, and I remember for the rest of my life the face of my parents. And my mom cooking at this moment, and she burned her hand in the elements of the, so my father, I don't understand why my dad do that. He take a bowl of cotton and put the water and take the water in the injury of my mom, and everything was ill instantly. No burn, no trace. After that, my dad have a bad idea to make a water inside, to have more water, but the water turned into black and the eel was stopped. But he keep the crystal in a little box and keep in a secret place. And one day, like each thing I bring back, they disappear. Like you don't keep this like evidence, the proof. You can't keep that. So it disappears. But hang on.
Okay.
When I decide to make my second part of movie, Started Revelation 2, my dad tell me, son, I have a surprise for you. Do you remember when you bring this little stone in Antares? Yes, they disappear. Yes, but before they disappear, I take a picture. And he sent me the picture of the crystal, and it's include evidence in my new movie. For the first time, there is the photo of the crystal of Antares. So this is the little story of Antares, my friend. And I remember the crystal inside. There is a different crystal. You can use the crystal for teleportation, for eat. There is a crystal. You can eating the crystal. There is a crystal for the medical bed in a spaceship. There is a crystal like a currency. You can use a crystal like a currency to exchange something. This is like a currency, but it's a crystal, And they use a crystal for a lot of things in the space. The crystal is very, very important for the Earth of the spaceship. There is a big crystal with the energy, like a portal, like I remember saw a big crystal in the middle of a spaceship. with a blue force field around the crystal.
Interesting. It reminds me of Star Trek and the dilithium crystals they would use to starships, that whole concept. And I wanted to mention too, when you mentioned the canine races,
Yeah.
One time I saw a vision of, I believe it was myself on another planet. It could have been in the Antares star cluster, but basically I was in front of talking with all of these, probably maybe 100 canine humanoids, and they all were like priests. They were wearing robes. And I couldn't hear what was going on, but I felt like I was trying to convince them of something or tell them something. So canine races, feeling like they're all out there, right?
Okay.
It sounds far out and crazy, but yeah. Exactly. And I also wanted to ask you about Tony Rodriguez.
Oh, yes.
And series. And rescuing slaves, because there was some information. By the way, Sean and I interviewed Tony Rodriguez probably about 6 months ago. It was a great interview. You know, everyone loved it. But what can you tell us about that experience that you had related to Tony and the slave colony and all that?
Tony and I, when I met Tony for the first time in Orlando, I remember felt something very strong energy of friendship. And when I take Tony in my arm, it's like my brother. And he feels the same thing. And Tony is someone like, I love these guys because he's a real, he's very, very interesting beings. We have a déjà vu with Tony the first time, and we don't talk at this moment in Orlando. He do the interview, I do my interview, and I remember at the end of this conference, Tony tell me, I must to talk to you, and I say okay, and we don't talk at this moment, but after a few days, we came back in the country, each of us, and we decided to speak together. And I remember when I was young, my name is Jean Charles, you know, but my nickname was Charlie.
Charlie.
My friend called me Charlie. And very strange, Tony tell to her mother when he was young in her bedroom, there was the portal, open a portal inside his bedroom, and a little boy get out this portal, and it was her friends. And her mom tell to Tony, oh, it's your imaginary friends. And he tell, no, her name is Charlie. And he spoke another language, so we communicate with the hand, and he tell me something, he want to save me. And I remember when I was young, get in this room, and I remember tell to Tony, you want to follow me? And he tell me, I don't want to follow you, I must stay here. And now we realize he want to live this bad experience, to disclosure what's happening in the slavery, in the space. So when I was adult and I was in a secret space program, I made a lot of rescue mission in a different space quadrant. I don't know if it's quadrant, it's a correct name. It's different words, you know, dimension and blah, blah. And in a Mars, in a Ceres, and I remember Ceres, okay? I do hypnosis 9 months before he finished her book, Ceres Colony. So at this moment, I don't know what is this in this book. The detail is top secret for every people. And I made my movie with Starseed Revelation 2, and I explain inside My mission was to save some people of the slavery of reptilian and tall grain and blah, blah, blah. And it was the same detail of what he lived, Tony. And this is why Tony and me recognize each other, because when we were young, we were in contact. And I think I traveled the time because I know what's happening to Tony, and I must to advise, it's very dangerous for you, so follow me. And he don't want to follow me. But the next time when he was slave, I think I was in a mission to rescue some people, and maybe Tony was in this team of rescue. And this is the link between Tony and me. And each time I saw Tony, I feel inside of me, it's try to explain, but a very strong link, you know. I die for these guys, you know. I risk everything for save Tony. And I remember I have a flash memory about some rescue mission against a black Draco, not a Draco, black Draco, more dangerous, very huge, with wings and red eyes, very terrific. And at this moment, I don't know. He write a book, and it's Ceres Colony. Right. And when he saw my movie, he crying, emotional, because he say, "Oh my God, you don't know this information because I keep this information secret, Jean Charles. This is the link." And I say, "Okay, you have a proof of that?" He say, "Yes, my mother remember this little boy named Charlie came into my room, and I remember I don't understand what he said because I spoken French." And when I have a chill when I spoke about that. And each time, this is the same thing with Chris O'Connor. You know? Chris O'Connor, the first time I saw these guys, these blue eyes, like ocean, I was, "Oh my God, I know these guys." And at the end of the dinner, I say, "Chris, I must tell you something very important." And he say, "What?" And he was waiting. And I say, "I know you." And he say, "Oh my God, sir, oh my God, thank you, I'm not crazy." Why? Because I have the same feeling with you, Jean Charles. And I have a flash memory about beings in the tubes and some in a spaceship. And at this moment, I don't know the story of Chris too. And everything I detail, it's precisely the same thing he disclosed now. But before, I have this memory. And I think a lot of people upstairs go into my life now, and my friend Michael Sala tell, and a lot of people, not me, but people say, maybe I'm a trigger for some people.
I would agree with that, because even to me, you have a very familiar, I'll call it signature frequency.
Yes,
I've
me too.
Met. Yeah,
yeah. So, I never saw you. This is the first time, and your face, for me, it's like a déjà vu too. It's curious, and when it's very strong, it's something. It's like a thing of the universe, you know. It's like a clue. You must realize yourself what's happening, and I trust the universe. I follow the stars each time, and each time it's okay. It's okay. So for me, if I follow my feeling, I know you.
Exactly. And I first knew of you in Orlando last year. I was at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference with Sean. And, we heard you speak and we listened to you, and then we watched your movie, part one of it. So yeah, there's something that's like familiar. So it's cool when these things start to get pieced together. By the way,
Yes.
Sean, welcome back. You came back through your portal.
Yeah, right. Like, what did I
Well,
miss? Like, I feel like some government interference or some the internet just went down. But yeah, got it back. What did I miss in the speeches? I
Oh, a
was
lot of things, my friend. You miss me, but the replay.
Yeah.
We spoke about Antares, the planet Antares,
And also,
with alien beings and what stuff I bring of Antares when I was young. So I can't repeat now because some people.
don't repeat it. I'll go back and do it.
we
Okay,
also,
what we were talking about right before
we also talked about Victor.
Yes, Victor.
Experience with Victor in his bedroom. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's what triggered me was you said you woke up in your bus. I'm like, oh my God, I remember a time when I had something similar, and I don't know if it was a dream or not. It's like so fuzzy, it's weird. I just remember being in the back of one of the buses that would take me to school one time, and I was just like playing around, and it's like this knowingness just came in line, and I started fading the reality that I was in the bus, and bringing forth a faded place. It was like I'm using words that I'm using now, but I didn't know what I was doing then. It was like fading out the place in space that I was and fading in a place that I was like remote viewing, and I ended up getting there entirely and fading out where I was. So it was like a different form of teleportation.
And I forget something very important because, like I say, then 1 hour, I remember something very important. When I go to the summer camp and I was mocked by my friend, and I get out to the field and I'm waiting something in the sky, and the disc arrived and I was sucked by the light. Imagine, some people can say, after that, I leave a lot of things outside the space, but I remember I wake up in my bed in my my room of a chalet, So some people can say, oh, it's a dream. Imagine there is 7 years after. I was a student and I work in the bank, my first job, in the job of my mom. And each children grow, and now we are adults, and we can, for your first job, go to the travel of your parents, your job of your parents. It's and I met again the same people who mock me. There is 7 years, and nobody mock me. We are in a cafeteria, and I go to a corridor to go to my office for a student, and there is a guy tell me, hey, Jean Charles, how are you? And I say, yes. And he tell me, I want to tell you something. I'm very embarrassed, but do you remember when you disappear in the night of the chalet with a lot of friends mock you, and I was very sad for you? I say, yes. And he tell me, hang on, friends. He tell me, I follow you because at this moment, I'm afraid you do something bad. So I follow you. And I was lie on the grass and I'm waiting. And you are sat down on the field and you raise your head. And I remember seeing something very, very strange, and I was afraid. I saw a disc, and you are sucked by the light. And I run, and I go to the room, the chalet. I close the door. I close the window. I take a chair in the door to block the door, and I was like this. And you tell me now that? Yes, because I was afraid, and that people mock me, and I'm waiting 7 years to tell you the truth, and it's important. And tell me after. And I was in the front of your bed. Your bed was empty, and everything was closed. I was on the door. My bed was on the door. Nobody can enter in the room. And I'm waiting 1, 2, 3 hours, and after 3 hours, I was very tired, and I closed my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, you were in your bed.
Wow.
And it's impossible. Everything was closed, and everything was locked. And I say, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice life.
Sounds like he's a believer now.
But now, yeah. But after that, he disappeared. But he was traumatized. Can you imagine? He followed me, and he sees a disc. So for me, it was very interesting, because I say, okay, I'm not invent something, or I dream and it was a vivid dream and it was only in my mind. No, when you are a testimony or a witness of something, and he hidden this during all his life because he was afraid to was judged like me. So I was I say to my parents, hey, do you know the guys? And and he tell me that, oh my God. It was very important to tell this. Information is very important,
Well collaborated. Great. Well played. Wow. Whew. Did he like say anything more on like now he believes in ETs, or is it like he's trying to deny it or whatever?
I don't have contact with these guys now, but I guess he believes everything. But I think he is very sad now, but because he can't share this with her family and her friend. So he's at the same place where I was when I was teenager.
And that ship was the one you were talking about where you were with Maria? Is that the one?
I don't understand.
Sorry. So you said that you went to a place that was like a school for ET.
Oh yeah. Because you miss a lot of part. So this is the reason why I don't understand, because I say that there is a few minutes and you disappear like teleport, my friend. So yes, I say to Chris, there is a few minutes. I was stuck by the light in the disc, and I go into a big spaceship. There was Victor and other spaces, and a blonde woman arrive in the corridor.
I remember this. Have you heard of this concept called the secret school? There's like a book that talks about it, where like ETs would visit kids and then take them to a school that would teach them different psychic abilities and tell them about a mission that they have to change the planet and awaken people and bring them out of this suffering, sleep, domination thing. And more and more kids that are being born now are in these secret schools that will then, most of them will forget, but they'll have a subconscious remembering that will then bring out something that will change the world, maybe inventions or whatever. And I've had similar experiences that it's a little overwhelming to talk about, but what were some of the other teleportations? Because I remember there was something else that you said in your documentary that triggered me about this thing where I don't know what it is. Again, it might have been a dream. It was something where I went in my closet, and then I like looked into this corner, and it like time like shifted, and space. It was like a weird vortex thing, and it was like I was going through multiple closets and then went back in time, and then it was like before 9/11. And so I was like, what time is it? And I was talking to somebody that was a roommate that I had when I was a really young kid. And I was like, oh my God, it's this. And I was like telling them about 9/11 and stuff. And I was like, oh shit. And then it went back. So I don't know. Did you have like time travel experiences as well? Because you had the Project Pegasus logo on your thing.
I have a lot of many travel through the times recently. It's like a dream again, but I remember this scene. But at this moment, I was in France. I was with my ex-wife, and 25. I remember we are in Paris, and I remember the musician and the ambience and the background, and but I'm in pajamas, and I was in the front of a shop, and I see me in a reflection of mirror, and I am afraid because I know maybe I can cross myself in a two sample. There is a 1 month, and it was very, very accurate, you know. So I guess I travel through the time really, but each time I dress like I sleep, you know. If I have a Mickey Mouse t-shirt, you know, it's example, okay? You can imagine your dream, and in your dream, you realize your dream, and you bend your hand and you are dressed like this. And at this moment, when I realize I have the same t-shirt, it's like a trigger, and I say, oh my God, I'm not dreaming, you know? Mm. Another, there is 1 month. I go to my bed, I sleep, okay? And I wake up in my dream in the back of a car with a like shelled. I don't remember the name in France. Couverture. You know, when your dream, you have your
Covers? Pull your blanket up?
Yeah. Blanket. Sorry, sometime.
No, I've done that a lot. Ah.
Yeah, I do my best in English. So, okay, I am a blanket, and I was in the back of the car. There is a woman and a guys drive, and we are in like the sand, when like a Morocco, you know, Egypt or whatever. And I wake up, and I don't understand why I'm here, and I'm dressed like I sleep, and open the blanket, and I say, oh, sorry, my name is Jean Charles, I think I'm teleport, and I live in Canada, and they look at me and say, what do you say? And I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm here, and I feel the hot, I feel the dust, I feel everything, and I was very afraid. I say, oh, my name, I don't have a passport. I'm in pajamas, and what I say if something asks me where, and I do the blanket and cover my head, and I pray, my God, I don't want to be here. I want to be there. And I open my eyes, I have the blanket, and open the blanket, and I was in my room. And I was very hot. And Melanie, my wife, in the morning tell, why you are your leg is red like a sunstroke. And I say, I don't know. But now I realize what's happened. And I think sometimes I jump, really. it's very important to clarify something, because some people can say your dream, and I say maybe, but explain to me, and this, and people say, oh yes, no. So I know, I don't know what's happening, but something happening, really,
Something's happening.
So I am in with my car is 1 hour EM, and I go to take a gasoline in my car, and I am in my car, and sometimes I lost my in a fraction of a second, and I say, I don't live at this address. I live at this address, but this is the address where I live. There is 10 years. And I was afraid because I want to cross the bridge to check if I am at this address in the two sample, the film with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the 6 days, the 16 days with the clone. You remember this movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? There is a clone, a movie clone, and he was duplicate in a different sample. And one day he came to a house and he heard "Happy birthday to you," and he go through the windows, and he is in the windows, and he blow her candle, and he was outside. I don't remember the name of this movie, but with Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I think it's called the sixth day.
The 6th day, yeah. And it was the same thing for me. I was sure if I cross the bridge, maybe I cross another timeline. Really? Can you imagine in the front of you with 10 years before? What do you say to you?
Right.
So, to ask your question, Sean, I guess I continue to travel, and there is something very strange, like, again, a lot of things happening in my life, if you follow me, my link with Japan. No, you don't know. In the side of my father was adopted, and he don't know her real father, and we discovered he was a Japanese DNA. So I'm a Japanese inside of my body. And when I was young, at 7, 8, I write in my diaries, I met a woman in Mount Fuji called Utsu. It was the guardian of this mountain. And I write in my diaries when I was young, And 40 years later, there is a story about a mysterious woman called Utsu, came from Japan in UFO. It's a legend inside the Mount Fuji.
Okay.
The same thing I write when I was young. But when I was young, I talk about a past life. I have 7, okay? And I say to my parents, I live in Japan. The name of the village was Sendai. Sendai was the name of the village. And I live here. And I was a family with a daughter, a son, a wife, and there is an emperor, and there is something happening very, very bad. And every people was killed in my village except me. And my wife died in my arm. Okay? And when I say that to people in Japan, they interviewed me, and they discover in a historian book a real person in Sendai at the same village, and the same century, I describe the date, exactly the date. Every people was killed, except one, by emperor. And there is 2 or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I was in my office, and I was with my phone, and I have an application to know where is my friend, and this is a gadget, you know. It's a GPS. You know where are you, where are your daughter, and you can GPS tracking, you know. And I was sat on my sofa, my chair, and something happening very strange. I have a Japanese decoration in my wall with a sword and a lot of things Japan. And in my eyes, I had the image of the Japan appear, and my office, Japan office, and it crossed. And I lost my consciousness in fraction of second. And I opened my eyes and I say, oh, something happened. And my phone glitch, and the map appear, the Japan, with my position, turn around. He searched me, and it was right Sendai, and my phone was frozen. I walk the stairs, go in the living room, and I say to my wife, Melanie, take your phone and film what's happening, because my phone is blocked and I must reset. So she filmed my phone, and you see exactly, it's not the VPN, it's a GPS position, because maybe I jump in a fraction of a second in Sendai and came back in Canada, but it was too quick to calculate the distance between 2 points. And this is the reason why the GPS say, oh, he was here, but where he is. And he search. And this is another curious thing, you know, why my GPS glitch at the same country before I was in my sofa, you know, and it was Sendai, curiously, the same country when I was young at 7, and I describe my past life. Maybe it's a glitch between 2 timelines, maybe, but again, something happened.
Yeah, I was going to say that when we were, sorry, Sean, when we were at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference in Orlando,
yeah,
there was weird things going on. I actually made this short video called Time Distortions at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference. And basically, I would have glitch outs like that, where I'd be walking to my seat, and all of a sudden I'd be sitting down, and I'm like, what happened? I'm sitting down all of a sudden, and I look at my phone, and it had like an error on the screen. Your date is incorrect. And it was giving me like a date from like 2002 or 2003. And I'm like, this hasn't happened to me before. But I think with all the energy and the people that were there, I think a lot of us were time traveling. And then when the conference ended, one of the days we went to Universal Studios, and I was having the same experiences. I went to they have a Men in Black exhibit. I had a weird thing happen to me at of all places, the Men in Black. So yeah, so what you're saying is I can collaborate that, because I've noticed weird things that happen, and then your phone gives you evidence. You've got some kind of evidence you can show that something actually happened.
Yeah, and then I do an interview with Mariko and Miyoko Sano. He's like Michael Sala, but woman in Japan. They disclose and they follow me very precisely. And a lot of people do investigation about what I say in Japan. But in Japan, they spoke only Japanese. Okay, there is a 5% of people spoke English. So imagine they keep her story, they keep her, there is a museum, and they find something very strange. What I say about Sendai, about Utsu, about Japan, about it's wow, you know, it's amazing. Some people are researcher, historian of the goddess and in Japan, and they found something very interesting about what I say, and it's a proof. And in the video interview what I with Elena Danan, we decide to make an interview about this glitch, you know. And can you imagine, we made the video, a recording video, everything was ready for the live, and at the moment we are now disclose the proof, the screen was black. They disappear, and I was, oh my God, I was nervous. What's happening? What the fuck? And everything. And you heard my voice, but you don't have the screen. And I say to Elena, could you do the? I check. I have the proof. Everything is here, but in a live they cut in live. So she re-upload the video in the second time, and the second time it pass, no problem. So people say, you believe or not believe, you can't, it's curious that the video, it's 1 hour, and this proof is 1 minute. And at the moment you say, 1, 2, 3, this is the proof, and shut down. How many chance? Tell me.
Right.
But the proof is now in the social media, and some people say, "Oh no, it's not a VPN. We saw it's a GPS position, position of Jean Charles, and he turned around, he searched, but he searched what? He searched me because he know that I have my phone in my hand, you know, so I was maybe bilocation or whatever."
Yeah,
Something, and the position tracking was, he was here, but now he was here, and he can calculate the distance, you know. When you take your car, you go to baker or a shop, you have a he can calculate. But if you it's impossible. You don't take the plane, you don't take your feet, you don't take a walk, you don't take nothing. So he have the limit of the software. So he don't understand.
Right.
So it was a huge evidence again, something happened. And nobody can tell the inverse, you know?
I had weird glitches like that myself, and sometimes it just like freaks out, it flashes, and it's just like, oh, what's that? And then I track it back to a message.
Yes. Something happened when it's glitched, like my friend, is something very, because the sensitivity of the phone now is very, it's more than like a phone, you know. There is a lot of and the energy enter in you and your phone, and it's evidence something happening very strong.
I wanted to bring up something that might like help you in like you finding your way back to your abilities. I had an experience that like you remind me with like Japan, where I kind of said it at the conference a little bit, but where I had this again, like maybe a dream, maybe past life, maybe something going on, where I could fully teleport, and I was so happy. I had like a whole bunch of abilities, and I was just like testing them and like going around and teleporting to different countries like India, and then went to Japan. As soon as it was like a Tokyo kind of like modern area with a lot of technology and lights everywhere. When I was in there, this ET-ish humanoid species started following me, and were like, it's very obvious they were after me, and I started teleporting around to avoid them, but they kept following me, and then they started zapping me with this like gun beam thing, and it wasn't like deadly or anything, but after I got hit with it after teleporting around, and I started losing abilities each time they zapped me, and then eventually after like the fourth zap, I lost the ability to teleport, and I was like so sad, and then I a few other things happened, and then I woke up super sad having to do with it. Do you I noticed that with abilities, hey, we into before, when they get targeted and something either will block them in a person, but if it's valuable, they'll like put an implant either energetically or physically in a person to drain them of that energy and then send it somewhere else to be utilized by a negative force that wants that ability themselves, and or steal it if they can. Do you have any idea what might have been what might be the force that's targeting you, trying to prevent you from using it, trying to possibly drain you of it or steal it from you?
I think I'm protected.
Yeah, totally. I mean, but like,
there is some people try to shoot me when I was young in France. It was a Men in Black, and I remember they used against me a directed energy weapon, and it was like a laser, but something very different, because my friend scientist Chris Esson described the power of the energy used against me was 20 kilowatts of power. There is 32 years. And I remember they used this against me when I was in a tunnel in the front of my house. And the first time, the power of this weapon ricochet on the ground, and I say, "Oh my God!" They shoot me, and the second times, I have the directed energy weapon against me to my closest, and I was pulled back and I fall on the ground, and I was protected by something like a force field, a blue energy around me. But I remember something tried to penetrate inside my body, and I was burned at the second degree, and everything of my clothes was burned. And I put my hand in the front of me, and my hand light on, and the two Men in Black disappears in the light dust in the front of me. So I was targeted by these people, and these same people came into my job one day, and my best friend Laurent, I work with Laurent during a lot of years, and at this moment we were not friends. We just we worked together, and I don't remember. He was near me, and he saw these two guys in a black suit, and he testimony into my new documentary, Stars of Revelation. So for people say, "Oh, it's your imagination," some people say that. No, I have a witness. And these guys came into my job and tell me, "Do you want to work with us?" Because they know my abilities at this moment. It was after my military services. It's very important to clarify. So I was in a military French Air Force base I don't tell the name for my safety. And it was a military base with something very strange inside. And during my military services, I had a big injury, a big accident. I was hospitalized in France in a military hospital. And in this hospital, there was a ground, I don't remember the name, a basement. And in this basement, I remember there is a different section, a psychiatric section, and we have we advise don't spoke with these guys. They're a psychiatric case. So I decided to spoke these guys, and he tell me a story very strange. Every night they saw a military with a doctor came with I search the word in a bed with a wheel, you know. What is the name? You know, when you make somebody in a bed with a wheel.
Yeah, like at an emergency room when they push them down the hall.
Yeah, but the name is in French is brancard. I don't remember the name. So you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, and they put the guys, the military guys, the psychiatric guys follow the military, and they go down in the basement, and the doors of the elevator open. It was like near the morgue, you know, with the dead people. And when the elevator opened the door, there was a reptilian in a suit waiting the guys in the bed with the wheel. And he tell me this story, you know. So after that, I decide to go down myself to check. And I was in the front of military guys, and he tell me, where are you? Why are you here? And I say, oh, sorry, it's a wrong level. After that, I go to my room, and I remember, I don't want to tell more information about that, but everything is in my documentary, you know. So there is something very strange. I don't remember why I say that. I begin to my story, but I don't remember why you asked me the question, and I go to my story and I put the detail, and oh my God, what's ask me, Sean? What is your question for the first?
Oh, it's like targeting and stolen abilities.
Yeah, targeting. Okay, targeting. Yes, targeting. So the Men in Black, and I was targeting, and wait, yes. Why they want to work with them? Because they know about me. Because when I was in the hospital, they discovered something very strange about me, about my abilities, about my medical folder, and you know, the radiography when I was young with a metal tic tac.
Oh, like an MRI scan. Yeah.
Yes, and can you imagine when I say that to my dad and my mom, she tell me, oh, they don't agree that, and they don't ask me the permission to do that, and they don't. And she phoned the hospital, and she received the bill, but not the radiography, not the X-ray. And I
just
say,
throw it out, right?
Yes, she disappeared. Oh, we lost the X-ray of your son. And
crazy how they can just do that and like still charge you, and like, but what'd you give me? And like, I don't get to keep it. Jeez.
And never seen the radiography. I guess they keep it in secret.
Right. And I'm sure you have stuff to do, so we don't want to keep you forever. Wanted to ask you, for the audience out there, how do you define what a super starseed is? You used in the movie.
The super starseed is not me call myself. It's Maria call me a super starseed, because I was able to teleport himself without any device. So this is the reason. And my DNA was very special with my energy. And she never seen before that, before me. So she decided to call me, you are a superstar seed. It's important to clarify. Some people say, oh, it's a pretentious, I'm a superstar seed. And no, it's not me. It's not me. She called me superstar seed. So this is the reason why, because I was able to have abilities, special abilities like teleportation.
Mm. And you went into past lives before, so I'm glad that you go into that and you've had visions of it. I also do that, and I read for people, and you have you have a very interesting spirit, and this might be like good hints for you. I've tuned into ancient mystery schools having to do with teaching people teleportation. It's a very rare genetic type of like mutation, but for you it appears mostly having to do with your spirit. And then just because you had some rare DNA, you coming into the DNA is what brought it to life, because you have authority that you've earned from other lives. And I've tuned into things like from Japan, like with the kami sacrifice, like with the royal families, and they have like all these crazy time rips in space-time around Japan, and I tune into some Egyptian mystery schools, these dragon family, deep in the wood martial arts teleportation mystery schools. Like, so your past lives, you probably have some interesting ones. So we'll keep that secret, like when later we can talk about it. But
There's so many things I want to share with you, my friends, but we don't have enough time, and it's very important for people, because I give you some information, I jump in my timeline, and if people don't know my story, they're lost. And what I say, Japan and Starseed, and it's very mixed, So I'm so sorry for people don't know my story. And it's important to do a research about my life. And I do in 1 year 64 interview.
Wow.
So it's very hard to short, And each day there is another thing and another thing, and I don't talk about my link with Antarctica and Tibet and Hawaii with Hawk in the, it's another story with corroborates with a lot of people, and it's another things. So imagine we must do an interview with 4 or 5 hours minimum.
Right. Well, leave comments in the video if you guys want us to have them on again. Can you plug your information on like how people can reach you, what projects you're working on, and like the links to the video we're going to put in the description?
If people want to add me in Facebook, I have my name, Jean Charles Moyen, in my Facebook, and Rive Sud Origin. It's my other profile Facebook, but ConnexionAlien is my channel, YouTube channel. You can find everything you want about my new movie, about ConnexionAlien. Okay. And my first movie was South Shore Origin. It was a movie like documentary science fiction with 85 true. And the rest was a fiction, because I play a role inside and I disclosure something about me. But in the beginning, I was afraid to share my information. So I guess at this moment, people don't ready to understand. And some people advise me, don't do that, because it's very dangerous. So made a part of fiction, and include some clue,
South
inside
Shore.
your movie. South Shore Origin. It's about two special agent investigation about abduction, and it's a part of my life. Okay, a part of my life. I'm not a special agent, CIA, not FBI. It's important to clarify. And it's more fiction, okay? And now I'm working to the sequel, South Shore Origin 2. This is the end of this movie. And I was shooting in a big part in Hawaii with my friend Michael Sala. And this is a long job because there is a more visual special effects. I don't use a green screen. If I don't have the choice, I do that. But I prefer moving in the real place, Hawaii and Bermuda Triangle, like for the first time. But it's important to clarify South Shore Origin 1 and 2 is mix fiction and reality, and the real things 100% real is Starseed Revelation 1 and Starseed Revelation 2. All is true inside this documentary. It's all about my life and my experiences about secret space program and a lot of things happening into my life with my friend and my family. And you are 15 capsule video about my life in connexionalien. There is a 15 capsule, and I spoke 3 capsule, and I spoke during 2 hours what's happening during my life until now. Okay, but there is another adventure happening after that. So I don't made another capsule, but if you see each capsule, 15 capsule, and these 2 documentaries, Starseed Revelation 1 and 2, and some video I include into my channel. I copy and paste the link of 64 interview I made with Japan. With you are very amazed because everything is inside my teleportation, my relation with Japan, why the picture of me when I was young, my father, and every evidence, every proof, everything is inside this channel. You can follow me, and you can join to my channel, and I want to thank you, every people, for your support. Email, I receive a lot of email in the world, and I'm very grateful for that. There is a lot of people, amazing people, write me.
Cool. Do you have anywhere people can donate to in your projects?
There is a people donate me to I have a GoFundMe. Okay, my GoFundMe is you search Jean Charles Moyen or South Shore Origin, but I guess is in French, Rive Sud Origin. But if you type my name to GoFundMe, you can find me. I am at this moment. I'm finished the part 2 of the South Shore Origin 2. I am in the middle of my movie. 35 minutes is color grading. Everything is done, but I want to realize the next part now. But everything is done. The middle of my movie is done. So I'm very grateful for that. I work very hard every day, every night. I spend sometimes 15 or 16 hours by day for the visual effects. It's very accurate job, for the graphic, and I am something meticulous, very precisely. I don't want to miss my movie because it's very important to finish this with a good job.
Wonderful. And you got your movies out that are Starseed Revelations, or also I've seen it flipped as Revelation of Starseed.
Yes, Vimeo, in the Vimeo, you can find me in Vimeo, on demand, and it's vimeo.com /on demand / Starseed Revelation 1 or Starseed Revelation 2. Starseed Revelation 1 and 2 exist in French language original and English language. And for the part 2 is French language, subtitle in English. If you want to keep the emotion of people real, it's very important. And you have always the English version, but it's not more natural, you know, it's a dubbing, but it's not the real voice of my parents, of my, you don't feel the same thing. It's important. And people sometimes prefer. So I made a choice. If you want to English, you're okay. But if you want to feel the real emotion of people, take the French version with the subtitle English.
I prefer that. Absolutely.
And what are you going to be doing other projects in the future, or going to different events?
Yes, I would like to be to write a book about my life in English and in French. It will be a big book, and maybe Starseed Revelation 3 about my Japanese, because I'm invited with Melanie to go to Tokyo for the next year, and a lot of people want to meet me in Japan. There is somebody tell me there is a movement. I don't know. Maybe a shirt with Jean Charles. You know, the Japan is when the people in Japan love you, they love you.
They love you.
And I'm very grateful because I have a lot of email of Japan, and wow, this is people are amazing in Japan. They have an open mind and very kind and very respectful, and wow. Each time I interview by Mariko and Miyoko, it's a pure love. It's wow, traditional and everything. I love Japan.
Me too. And for the audience, when do you think you'll be doing your teleportation workshops?
I don't have a teleport workshop, my friend, because myself, I don't know what's happening so I can't students, do this and do this. No, I don't have a workshop.
They pop into the Antares system and like, where'd they go?
Yeah. I'm shopping in Antares. Okay, bring me something.
Then let's work on that together. We can make it into a product and stuff.
Yeah. But if I have information about workshop, I tell you, my friend, don't worry.
Yeah, give them some hints, and it's because it's like a building science. Oh, and
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to like bring to tell the audience, like things you're looking for in people that like have different types of value that they can bring into your life, that like you can like start trading? Like, for instance, we're looking for people that are willing to like take clips of like shows like this and then make it more available in shorts and out to the world. And if you guys send us those shorts, it will be a good excuse to talk to us, and we'll trade you for them. I'm sure with ones for John as well. Anything you're looking for in people, type to hit you up, like lawyers or like financial people or things to do business or help you with your films?
No. Everything is in control, my friend, and I follow the stars, and I'm very surrounded by a good friend and good people. I'm very honored, and I appreciate your invitation to your channel. It's a pleasure for me. And no, everything is okay for me. I don't need nothing about love.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, Soul Family, hit them up.
And some love.
Chris, can you say how to plug your information?
Yeah, so to find me, I have a YouTube channel called Quantum Businessman. You can also I have a website called quantumbusinessman.com. And just in conclusion, I'm going to say something very quickly about something that I saw in part one. I think you mentioned a double-ringed planet. Well, in our solar system, I didn't realize this, there's now I'm counting 24 planets in our solar system. You've got the 8 major ones. You've got Pluto, which is considered a dwarf planet. You've got Ceres, which is a dwarf planet. And there's others. One of them is called Charlico. It's between Saturn and Uranus, and it has 2 rings, like the rings and then the rings on the other side. And I had never heard of that before. It was discovered in 1997. For me, it's a Mandela effect, because all these new discoveries in the solar system that happened many, many years ago, I always watch what's going on in the solar system I never heard of. So I just wanted to say, double ring planets exist, even if they're little tiny small dwarf planets. They're even in our solar system. So if anybody wants to look up Charlico, Chariklo, you will be surprised. It's pretty cool.
And it also
I have something to add to you, my friend.
Okay.
You say 2-ring planet. Ultima, my planet, where go to live Victor, is a planet with 2 rings. And look.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't this synchronistic?
Well,
Curious.
Very cool.
there's some other movies as well that use that, like the Disney show Treasure Planet. If you've ever watched that, yeah, that'll be some triggering. I think Guardians of the Galaxy might have had one. I forget. And yeah, I'm Sean Bonnick, CoNNEXION.com, Psionic League YouTube. Go on there for a bunch of different abilities like teleportation in video form evidence. Because as you watch these videos, they'll download the blueprint of the light code of what that being used to use it. Then you can start reverse engineering it. And let us rise together and bring back teleportation to the world. Spread this video, share wherever you can. Like, smash that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and let us know how you think about this video. And if you want to see more, let us know in the comments.
Yes. And thank you, everyone, for watching till the end.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everyone.